text, Matthew 6, verse 1 to 4. In the opening words of Matthew 6, the Lord continues his discourse delivered on the mountain to his disciples and to the crowds of Israel. Having spoken about the nature of righteousness that surpasses that of the scribes and Pharisees, he now addresses the manner in which religious acts were being practiced among the people. The focus turns to acts of charity, which in the culture of Israel were considered an important expression of covenant faithfulness. The passage begins with a warning. Take heed that you do not do your charitable deeds before men, to be seen by them. The concern presented is not the act of giving itself, but the motive behind it. In the religious climate of first-century Judea, public demonstrations of piety had become a means of gaining honor among the people. Certain individuals performed acts of generosity in conspicuous ways so that their reputation for righteousness would be recognized. Jesus describes such individuals as hypocrites. The term referred to actors in a theatrical setting, people who wore masks and portrayed roles that were not their true identity. In this context, it describes those whose outward display of generosity concealed an inward pursuit of human approval. When such acts were performed publicly for recognition, the reward they received was the praise of observers. According to the words of Jesus, that praise constituted the entirety of their reward. The instruction that follows presents a contrast. Instead of announcing acts of charity, the disciples were told to give quietly. Do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. The language is figurative, emphasizing secrecy and the absence of self-promotion. The giving described here takes place outside the arena of public recognition. It is done privately, without the sounding of trumpets or the desire for social honor. The emphasis on secrecy reflects the reality that the Father sees what is hidden. The passage repeatedly points to the Father who sees in secret. While public approval might accompany conspicuous acts of religion, divine recognition operates independently of human observation. The reward associated with such giving is described as coming from the Father himself. These words occur within a broader historical setting in which the structures of Israel's religious leadership were approaching their climax. The scribes and Pharisees had cultivated a system that emphasized outward conformity and visible displays of devotion. In that environment, acts such as almsgiving, prayer, and fasting often became public performances that reinforced social status within the religious community. The teaching of Jesus exposed the contrast between outward religious performance and the righteousness that belongs to the kingdom of heaven. The righteousness he describes does not arise from public recognition or ceremonial display. Rather, it flows from a relationship with the Father that exists apart from the structures of human approval. Within this kingdom framework, generosity toward the needy is not presented as a transaction designed to accumulate merit or secure standing before God. The Father already knows and sees the actions of his people. The emphasis of the passage is therefore not on earning divine acceptance, but on the contrast between two systems of reward, one rooted in human recognition and another rooted in the Father's awareness. Those who performed their charitable deeds publicly had already received what they sought, the admiration of others. Their reward was temporary and earthly. By contrast, the giving done in secret was acknowledged by the Father who sees what human eyes do not perceive. Matthew 6, 1-4 thus stands as the first example in a series of contrasts that continue throughout the chapter. Jesus proceeds to address prayer and fasting with the same pattern. The hypocrisy of public display contrasted with the quiet reality of devotion known only to the Father. The passage reveals a fundamental distinction between religious performance and the righteousness associated with the kingdom announced by Christ. Public recognition belonged to the realm of human systems, while the Father's reward belonged to the reality of his kingdom. In this teaching, Jesus exposes the difference between outward appearances and the hidden life that exists before God. The hypocrite seeks visibility, but the disciple operates within the unseen awareness of the Father. The applause of people marks the completion of one kind of reward, while the acknowledgement of the Father defines another. Thus, the instruction concerning charitable giving reveals both the nature of true generosity and the contrast between two competing sources of approval, one from men and one from the Father who sees in secret.